Before watching the new animated series Our Cartoon President, I thought I'd come down with a serious case of Trump Satire Fatigue, or TSF. Everywhere we turn the president is getting roasted, deservedly so, by someone new. The late-night hosts, Saturday Night Live, American Horror Story, Michael Moore. At a certain point the race to save democracy via comedy becomes its own feedback loop, an indistinguishable glob of gags extracted from a man so lacking in subtext that the outrageous things he says are earnestly defended by his handlers a day later, as jokes, such as the profuse and prosperous state of political satire in 2018, created by Stephen Colbert alongside Chris Licht, Matt Lapin, animator Tim Aluka, and RJ Fried. Our Cartoon President is actually a fantastic parody, a natural offshoot of the Colbert brand that's based on a recurring segment from The Late Show, and it works mainly because it's not trying to be trenchant, cautionary or even vaguely political. There's an absurdity coursing through the teleplay and the animation that feels proximal to the political climate but not unnervingly so, and the show capitalizes on the administration's haplessness but doesn't necessarily comment on it. The result is something like both The Simpsons and The West Wing, served with a dollop of Vanderpump Rules. The show also owes some of its success to the personalities making up President Trump's cabinet and inner circle, none of which are your run-of-the-mill politicos but instead billionaires, brain surgeons, former lieutenants and ideologues. There's Jeff Sessions, Theodore Bilbo's spiritual heir, who's been imagined here as a diminutive, drunk grandpa. Goldman Sachs Sir Stephen Mnuchin suggests putting smallpox on pennies and is lovingly referred to as Nudge Dog by cartoon POTUS. Ben Carson, brilliantly voiced by Zach Cherry, looks vaguely somnambulant all the time, and Stephen Miller takes the shape of a devilish, uppity golem. Generals Kelly, Mattis, and McMaster, each animated precisely by Luca, act as wily lion tamers. The man they must tame is, of course, Trump. Brought to life here by Jeff Bergman, a 30-year voice-acting veteran whose caricature of the president is more Manhattan-influenced than those of Alec Baldwin and Anthony Atamanuik. The first episode opens on Donald, in bed next to Melania, enjoying his executive time. He channel surfs before landing on the Fox and Friends trio of Steve Doocy, Ainsley Earhart, and Brian Kilmeade, whose sycophancy is one of the show's best-running gags. It's 6 a.m. Mr. President. Rise and shine. And I love you. Cartoon Kilmeade breathlessly shouts through Trump's television set. Later, when he gives a Trump speech a 9 out of 10, POTUS panics, my God, I've lost Kilmeade. In the premiere, Trump finds out his approval ratings are dismal and decides the only way to shore up support is by using weapons of war or delivering a State of the Union speech. He requests punchlines from his cabinet members, a speech from Miller, who turns one in Cold Blood Horizon, and even meets with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, who ask only that he includes the word progress, in literally any context, in his address. Schumer spits out the words Katz's Deli and Hudson River to curry favor, and Trump asks who's running their party and compares it to a bunch of seagulls fighting over a potato chip. IRL Trump would be hard-pressed to come up with a line like that. But the show lets you laugh with him from time to time. When it comes time to deliver the SOTU address, an announcer wonders whether Trump will embrace Washington or take a 40-minute call with Kamala Khan. I won't spoil how it turns out, except that Trump triumphantly declares he's won the State of the Union, to say nothing of how the speech is actually received or how it played out in real life last week. The machinations parodied herein will remind most people tuned into our knee-jerk news cycle of Michael Wolff's Scorched Earth Trump expose Fire and Fury, published last month. Many of the book's allegations, from Trump's affinity for Big Macs to his ignorance of the Constitution, are unsubstantiated, which doesn't make them implausible. But since Fire and Fury purports to be non-fiction, it's hard to enjoy the book without litigating its truthfulness, and much of it doesn't pass muster. Our Cartoon President, on the other hand, is a similar tale of palace intrigue and ineptitude. but one that can be consumed absent an analysis of repertorial rigor. What it is, essentially, is a character study